38%, 43%, 53%. Denver Summit's possession in their last 3 games. The first 2 ended in losses. The third ended in a 4-1 win in Houston. That number tells you everything about what has changed for the Denver Summit. Welcome back to the 5280 pitch, women's soccer at altitude. I'm Kate Hansen. Yeah, folks, 4-1 on the road in Houston after a 96-minute weather delay. The first weather stoppage of the entire 2026 NWSL season. Denver used that time to settle in, to get their mindset right, because when they came out of that tunnel, whoo-wee, did they ever put on a show. They put 4 past a Houston team that had just lost 3 of their last 4 coming in. And honestly, it was not even close. Today, we're going to get into all of it. The lineup decisions, because there were lineup changes, and what those lineup changes actually tell us. The possession numbers across the last 3 games and why that comparison is extremely important. And of course, we're going to talk a little bit about the Ryan and Sheehan homecoming, what happened on the 1 goal that Houston did score, and the standout performances that made Saturday, well, an amazing game. Because, let's be real, for 2 weeks in a row, Denver blew late leads. Against San Diego, they were up 2-0 at halftime and lost 3-2. So all 3 of San Diego's goals came in the second half, the 49th minute, 57th, and the own goal. But again, that's in the past. Kind of. Because it happened again in Boston. They had equalized through Yazmeen Ryan at 18, went up 2-1 with that Tosh Flint goal in the 77th. And then they conceded in the 90th and 94th to lose 3-2. They had 2 leads, 2 collapses, and then there was a ton of real questions about what this team is when things get hard. Last week after practice, Cushing was extremely honest. He knew that what the reporters were going to ask, and he was ready. He was ready to have an answer for it, and Cushing's answer was to shake up the lineup. I know a lot of people were expecting a bigger shakeup than what we saw, which we will get into, but he did shake things up. Ayo Oke got the start at right back. She had been mostly coming off of the bench. And then our friend Natalie Means, drew a start, which is notable given that she had played just a total of 54 minutes all season up until that point. So that means that the shape shifted. More compact, more disciplined, built to absorb pressure and punish on the counter. Janine Sonis described what the week felt like.
Honestly, the vibe just felt different all day, this whole trip, yesterday traveling, this week in training. I think when you go through these kind of spells of being challenged, like we have been the last 2 weeks, you either capitulate or you rise to the challenge. And, we have a great leader in Nick who really never gives up and was very intentional when he came into training this week to get us where we needed to get.
And Cushing confirmed it postgame. The players who hadn't had minutes were pushing him in training, and that's what he wanted.
Everybody will talk about the goals and the assists. Nobody will talk about the moment that you have to run back and get back behind the ball and put a foot in and put a tackle in. And I thought that is the team's win tonight. I mean, every player was on both sides of the ball, really, really high level.
Oke was excellent. We will get into her numbers. Means we did see a little bit of growing pains. She played 60 minutes, 0 shots, 24 touches, 14 passes at 78% accuracy before Carson Pickett came in the second half for her. Means didn't hurt Denver, but she wasn't having the impact that Oke was on the other side of the field. And whether she holds on to that spot going forward, well, we'll just wait and see what happens. Cushing was asked post-game about what he wanted to see repeated from this team.
Resilience, grit, determination, a real deliberate, conscious, defensive stability. You can see, we pressed a little bit to create some chances, and at 3-1, 4-1, you don't need to win 5-6, 7-1 from your defensive phase. So we sat resolute and, didn't take breaks, mental focus, all the things you need in this league.
That's the blueprint. Whether the personnel who executed it on Saturday get to keep executing it is the conversation heading in to May 16th at Dick's Sporting Goods Park, Pride Night. We'll get into that as well. But I do want to spend some time in today's episode with the numbers, because numbers across these last 3 games tell a story that is really important for us, as maybe you're a new fan to the game. We're all new to the Denver Summit, but the numbers that the Denver Summit have been putting up over these past 3 games it tells a very interesting story. So San Diego, Denver was up 2-0 at halftime. The way that we looked in the first half against San Diego looks like a different team than when the second half happened. San Diego scored 3 times in that game. We lose 3-2. You might be saying, Kate, why are we spending so much time on this game from a few weeks ago? Well, it's all a part of the bigger story here. So, what were Denver's possession numbers for that game? That is the story. They had 43% possession, 356 passes, 77% accuracy overall, 65% in the final third. San Diego had nearly 57% of the ball and 468 passes. Denver was surviving. And the moment that San Diego adjusted and Denver had to hold on to the lead without the ball, they just couldn't do it. So Denver's XG, which again, remember, is expected goals, for the entire match was 0.9, nearly identical to San Diego's 0.93. The scoreline at halftime looked like it was Denver's game, but the possession numbers, those told a very different story the whole time. And let's look at Boston, May 3rd. Denver equalizes through Ryan at the 18-minute mark, and then Flint gives Denver a 2-1 lead at the 77-minute. 2 minutes, just 2 minutes away from 3 points. And Boston equalizes at the 90th, and they win it at the 94th. Denver's possession tally that day, 317 passes, 65% overall accuracy. In the final third, 45%. Less than half their passes in dangerous areas were finding a teammate. Boston had a 3.02 expected goals to Denver's 0.66. That result was not bad luck. Denver was getting outplayed the entire game, and the scoreline finally caught up. We were relying way too much on Abby Smith. So let's talk about Houston, because that's our most recent game. Houston, May 9th, 53% possession, 424 passes, 82% overall accuracy, 68% in the final third, all on the road after a 96-minute delay against a team that had just come off a 2-0 loss against Utah 3 days earlier. But that, folks, that is not a small swing. That is 3 completely different versions of this team on the ball across 3 weeks. And it connects directly to how Saturday played out, because Denver wasn't hanging on this time. They were controlling the game. When Houston pulled it back to 2-1 on the penalty at halftime, which I stepped away for 1 minute and I'm like, wait, what? How is it 2-1? Yeah. When I came back, we're only up by 1, and it made me a little nervous. I'm sure we all felt a little like, is this a sign of that second half collapse again? But Denver came out and scored right out the gate in the 49th minute. When it could have gotten complicated, they put it to bed. And Cushing pushed back all week that the losses were tactical problems. Looking at the possession numbers across 3 games, he's right. It's not tactical. It's identity, whether this group believes in what they're doing for all 90 minutes. Saturday in Houston, they did. Earlier this season, Denver and Houston completed the largest cash trade in NWSL history. $1 million for Ryan and Sheehan to come to Denver. Saturday night, they came back into Houston and combined for 3 of the 4 goals. Yaz had 2 assists, both to Janine Sonis. That's not athleticism. That is anticipation. She knows where Janine is going to be. The 71st minute goal is the clearest vision. Yaz slipping a diagonal pass into space, Sonis timing a run and finishing low past Jane Campbell. And that was a connection that was built on past experience of playing with somebody because they played together back in Portland. And Yaz talked about it post-game.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, since I got to play with Janine in Portland, I knew that, I mean, we connected there, and I knew that when we got the chance to truly play together, whether she's outside back and I'm forward or, just on the field at the same time, then we've always connected so well. And so when I got here, I was just extremely excited to play with her, and we've been talking, of course, like about it, and we just have such a good connection on the field, and the way that we play really complements each other. So, I know where she's at always, and it's honestly a pleasure to play with her.
Janine said the same thing from her side, called Yaz a player with limitless potential. A reporter asked directly whether we'll see more of this pairing.
I sure hope so. I love playing with Yaz. We got to play together in Portland a few years back, and when I heard she was joining us in Denver, I couldn't have been more excited. And she's a player with limitless potential, and I think that we've seen that this season already, but tonight was a really full performance.
And on coming back to Houston, Yaz kept it measured, prepared the same way she does every week. But she also said this.
It's always, I think, motivation when you play a former team. Just like have that a little bit of edge and chip on your shoulder. But I tried to prepare the game the same way that I tried to prepare every game, and I really just I want to be dangerous no matter who I'm playing.
2 assists, 4-1. The chip was well placed. Sheehan's goal in the 49th, a header off the Oke cross, put the game away at 3-1. Now, again, I say put it away, but we've seen some second half collapses from this team. But I think that shifted the mindset of the team. Like, hey, we're still in this game. We still got it. Her passing numbers, Sheehan's passing numbers on the night, 86% overall, 90% in the final third. 10 passes into Houston's final third, 9 of them connected. In a road game at a stadium that she had played in previously, Cushing pointed to that goal specifically as what their identity looks like when it clicks. The movement, the patience, the right moment to commit. Ryan and Sheehan combined 3 of our 4 goals on Saturday night. That trade is looking real good for us right now. I do want to talk about the penalty. Like I said, I left for just a minute, come back, and everything's changed. So what happened in the 43rd minute, Tosh Flint caught Danielle Capriso in the box, and VAR confirmed it. Maggie Graham stepped up, and she converted, made it 2-1 heading into halftime. It was also the night that Capriso became the 3rd player in NWSL history to record 200 regular season starts. And Jane Campbell made her 200th appearance for Houston across all competitions. First goalkeeper to ever do that with a single NWSL franchise. It was a big night for milestones on the Houston side, not such a big night for results. On the save attempt on that penalty kick, Abby Smith read it correctly. She went the right way. Graham just hit it well enough that it didn't matter. Smith wasn't wrong. She wasn't beaten by a bad read. Graham was clinical, and that happens. Outside of that penalty, Smith was barely tested all night. Cushing said it specifically post-game.
In the moments when we did need individuals to step up, Kaylee Kurtz, Ava Gaetano, Abby Smith again, our fullbacks were good. We're going to need this to execute results. You can't just attack everybody in every moment. You have to absorb some pressure at times, and we did that really well tonight.
Kurtz cleared a shot off the line in the 77th minute to hold the 4-1 lead. That right there does not show up on the headlines, but it mattered. It was extremely important for this team. And I said I was going to be talking about Ayo Oke because she had one heck of a game. 2 assists before coming off in the 59th minute. Yeah, she had 2 assists in 59 minutes of play. She had 51 touches, 81% passing accuracy, relentless driving that right touchline. Her carry and cutback in the 15th minute set up that Sonis opener. Her cross in the 49th found Sheehan's header. Cushing called her out by name in the postgame, and that is earned. Janine Sonis, 2 goals, her 100th career start, back at the stadium where she scored her very first professional goal as a Houston Dash rookie way back in 2016. Tosh Flint just continues to make strides for this Denver Summit team. I am so glad that we extended her, and she's going to be a part of this franchise until 2020 through 2027. Her goal in the 34th, intercepting a Campbell clearance at the edge of the area and finishing it so calmly past a stranded keeper. It is the system doing exactly what Cushing draws up. My daughter's coach from a couple years ago used to call that exact move the cheetah play. And it's so cool to see the cheetah play working up at the NWSL level. I love seeing what Cushing is drawing up. He talked about it post-game.
Part of our identity is to create chances from our goal, from our defensive phases. And there's a lot of principle and concept in there. And, double running and blindside pressing is the detail in that. And if you look, I've asked players to execute on the detail because we practice it a lot. And that moment is there's a lot of detail in that, in how you recognize where they're going to bounce it and how you sneak on the blind side and make sure that you block and pinch, and then you have to be clinical in that moment. So yeah, she's enjoying her football at the moment, and I think the more that we can get her on the ball, the more you're going to see Tasha's quality.
The second time this season that she's done something exactly like that. It is a craft. It is not luck. I also want to talk about Abby Smith, 4 saves on the night. Like I said, she didn't get tested a ton, but she did have a diving stop on Kate Fauci in the 55th minute that kept it 3-1 and kept Houston from finding a way back in. Abby Smith has been one of the steadiest players on this roster all season, and Saturday was another example of why. 38%, 43%, 53%. 2 losses where Denver was getting outrun on the ball and couldn't hold leads. Then that 4-1 road win where they controlled the game, handled adversity when it came, and kept scoring. Cushing said at postgame that there's still moments to clean up, spots where they're committing balls into the box too early, execution details that just aren't there yet. He's not declaring anything is solved, and neither am I. But Janine Sonis, in the postgame room, said what everyone was feeling.
We obviously had a really great performance. So hopefully this is a turn in the tide for us.
Denver's next match is this Saturday at Dick's Sporting Goods Park. Yes, we're at home. It is Pride Night. We're going to be diving into everything to expect for Pride Night, which is, interestingly, against the Orlando Pride. Also, we're going to talk about what Kaylee Kurtz is doing for one of her initiatives for Pride Month, which I know is in June, but Summit aren't playing. The NWSL isn't playing in June. So we're going to talk about what she is doing to help raise awareness for Pride Month. And we have a tough game this weekend on Saturday. It is not going to be an easy match, but we're on the up. I think that the game that we just had against the Houston Dash is a turning point for this team. We have the opportunity. How are we going to take it now? What have we learned in those 2 heartbreaking losses? What have we learned from a rebound game where we scored 4, the most in the NWSL over the weekend? We scored 4. How are we going to take that and put on a show in front of our home crowd here in Denver? I'm going to break down everything in Friday's preview episode. I also have been doing something fun in the preview episodes. So if you missed last week's preview episode, I had a battle of the mascots. So tell me, what mascot would you assign to the Denver Summit for this week and for the Orlando Pride? You can make them up. They can be whatever you want. Just tell me what mascot you would have and why. And maybe your mascot will be the one that goes into the duel for this week's preview episode. So send me a DM. Let me know what mascots you would have for each team. And it's just something fun that I'm doing for these preview episodes. Guys, we're on the right track. We're sitting at 12 in the table right now, which, lower half of the table. But, the season is young. We're finding our identity. We're finding our footing. There's no reason for us to hang our heads just yet. And if this is your first time tuning in to the 5280 Pitch, well, thank you for being here. It's great having you be on the Summit train. Hop aboard. Plenty of room on this train to cheer on women's soccer at altitude. And we have a long season ahead of us. I'll do my best to get some more player interviews. If you haven't connected with me over on the socials, I'm active on Instagram and on Threads. Be sure to follow me there. Sign up for the 5280 Pitch newsletter. That's where I give all the latest updates, and you get special discounts for merch. There has been some new secret merch drops that I just put together, so if you want to check those out, you're going to have to be on the newsletter. So head on over to 5280pitch.com to check that out. And again, for away matches, I'm going to be doing some live pregame shows. Come on out, join in on the fun for the watch party. And with that, folks, we'll see you on Friday for the Denver Summit Orlando Pride pregame show. I'm going to break down everything that we can look for. But the ship looks like it's been turned around a little bit from those past two games. It's going to be exciting to see where the Summit take it from here.